O Block is home to the Parkway Gardens low-income apartment complex. These days, there are various reports that rappers are scared of O Block.
Hey, I have a
This
question.
complex has
Is O Block still considered like a hot location or no?
35 buildings, and in one of them was where a young Michelle Obama and her family once lived. She once described the place as a wonderful small apartment building. So, why then are rappers scared of O Block?
Why?
Today, on Rap Central, we'll show you just why. O Block history. Originally named Parkway Garden Homes, the apartment complex was built from 1950 to 1955 and was the first apartment complex to be cooperatively owned by Chicago's African American residents. It was built to fix the problem of the urban housing shortage that happened after World War I. The complex has 35 buildings, in which 24 of them are walk-up buildings, while the remaining 11 are 8-story buildings.
That's not
Chicago's African American population boomed from 1920 to 1970, and this was the time when O Block became quite popular. And in 2011, the complex was even added to the National Register of Historic Places. However, while O Block became popular, so did gangs and violence began to rise in the neighborhood. O Block gang.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but guys, real quick on some gang talk. Is that Fabi? I don't know if you guys knew this, but gangs used to actually be friends, and they would actually like love each other and like basically fight against the police. Or no, they would keep the city clean.
These gangs in Chicago were founded or began in 1958 by a group of young teenagers. These teenagers were from the major black neighborhoods in Chicago, such as Hyde Park, Kenwood, and Inglewood, with the goal of creating an alliance to combat their enemies. Some of the notable founders are David Barksdale, Richard Strong, Larry Hoover, Leonard Longstreet, Kilroy, Prince Oldtimer, etc. They named this alliance Devil's Disciples, but by the beginning of 1961, David Barksdale had taken full control of the Devil's Disciples. Barksdale's goal was to turn all the small gangs around the neighborhood into factions of the Disciples. Barksdale created the Black Disciples Nation in 1966 so as to make the gang stronger and make them able to counteract threats from other gangs. This move increased the number of people who joined the gang into the thousands, but the gang became even bigger in 1969 when Larry Hoover, the leader of the rival gang Gangsta Disciples, agreed to a merger with Barksdale, and together they created the Black Disciples.
See, chat, I'm Jewish. That's a Jewish star. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's the Star of David. I'm actually thinking about getting a chain of that. That's kind of cool. I didn't know they rep that. That's really cool. Is that their flag? Or their emblem, or I should say. Is that what they rep?
Disciples Nation. However, not long after the alliance was formed, Larry Hoover was sentenced to prison for murder, and with Larry in prison, Barksdale became the only leader of the gang. But in 1974, at the age of 27, Barksdale died due to kidney complications. His death led to problems within the Black Gangsta Disciples Nation, and the gang eventually split into different factions called the Black Gangsta Disciples and the Black Disciples. Now, this is a crucial moment in the history of Chicago and O Block gangs because these two same gangs still rule the block till this very day. The creation of these two factions led to a rivalry and a bloody gang war that has never ended, but instead, they only have peace for a while and then end up back at war again. Also, these two gangs have factions that have been responsible for perpetrating violence on the streets of Chicago for many years. Black Disciples. The Black Disciples gang have spread from Chicago to other parts of America, particularly to the Midwestern and Southwestern states. The gang's colors are blue, red, and black. As of 2004, research showed that there are as many as 300 factions of the Black Disciples.
Wow.
Each faction has over 30 members, and they all maintain the same structure. The highest rank.
Okay, so 300 times 30 is 6,000. Or no, 9,000.
In each set is King Shorty, and after which comes the minister, assistant co-minister, and then the Demetrius. The primary activity of the gang is illegal drug trafficking, and other criminal activities of the gang include arms trafficking, burglary, money laundering, murder, racketeering, robbery, illegal gambling, kidnapping, and theft. The Black Disciples are the dominant gang in O Block. Many fans believe that the O Block faction of the gang is responsible for most of the dominant gang in O Block.
Listen, when you guys roll dice, do you roll 2 or 3 dice? Because Snaggy Mo came over last night and tried fucking finessing 3 dice. Everyone knows when you roll dice, it's 2, bro. Fucking Snaggy Mo, you weird ass bitch.
Many fans believe that the O Block faction of the gang is responsible for most of the killings and violence that happens on the block, and that the gang is also responsible for most of the violence that happens in Chicago. Some other gang rivals of the Black Disciples are Vice Lords, Black P Stones, Mickey Cobras, Latin Kings, and of course, the Gangsta Disciples. Due to the history of Chicago gangs, almost all families are involved with a gang one way or the other. The gangs are generational, which is why in most situations, the grandfather is a gang member, the father is a gang member, and the son is a gang member.
It's kind of sad because you're literally, like, this kid is like 13 years old, and he's literally born into being a gang member. It's cruel. It's like, it's fucked because you don't even choose that life. So I feel for you guys when you guys, like, well, some of you, hold on a second, let me rephrase this. For any of you guys that go through this shit, and I'm really sorry if you do, like, it's just crazy because I feel for you. Like, you're born into it. There's nothing you can do about it.
As a result,
We should all
many
be
Chicago
grateful.
rappers are born into these gangs, and some of them are Chief Keef, Lil Durk, L.A. Capone, Fredo Santana, Lil Reese, and King Von. And in case you don't know, the original leader of the Black Disciples, David Barksdale, is the grandfather of King Von. This is also why Von is called Grandson, and also the reason why he named one of his mixtapes Grandson.
Oh my God.
Gangsta Disciples. Unlike the Black Disciples, the Gangsta Disciples are not just a street gang, but also a prison gang. The old color of the Gangsta Disciples is black and blue, but these days, gang members now wear black and gray instead. The Gangsta Disciples have a significant presence in the U.S. prison system, and the gang is active in 110 cities and in 31 states. Just like the Black Disciples, the Gangsta Disciples are predominantly in the Midwestern and Southwestern states, and this is why most times, the gang are always in a war for territory. The Gangsta Disciples mostly hold territory in the near north side of Chicago, and the gang has over 25,000 to 50,000 members. The gang is involved in criminal activities such as assault, auto theft, fraud, homicide, prostitution rings, firearms